Welcome to Three Men and a Movie, and today we are reviewing the new Tom Cruise film, Valkyrie.
I'm a soldier, but in serving my country, I have betrayed my conscience. We need to reorganize. There has to be a chance of success. That's why you're here.
Valkyrie is based on a true story about an attempt to assassinate Adolf Hitler during the Second World War. Sadly, when you're watching this film, you know the end, because you know he doesn't get assassinated, don't you? Because that's history.
Yeah, it's
if
history.
you know your history. So the problem with that, I found one of the major problems with it is all through the suspense. You know, it's actually they're not going to achieve it.
But since how it unfolds, though, how it all came about.
You forget that the whole of Germany wasn't in favour of Adolf Hitler. We think, oh, Germany all loved Hitler, and there's a lot of people who didn't like him. They thought he'd gone too far, and they didn't want him to carry on. So telling that story was great, wasn't it? You do realise that there were a lot of Germans out there who didn't like Adolf. The other thing that did remind me is how good the clothes were.
Brilliant.
Weren't they? I mean, the Germans did have good clothes, didn't they? Was it Hugo Boss who did all the clothes? Didn't he design all the Germans? But they had the funny little trousers with those things. I don't know why they had those things, but the trench coats and stuff, weren't they? Just like those big leather trench coats, and when they get when he was in that white uniform and stuff, and it's all tapered in. I mean, this is turning into 3 Men in Fashion, but it did look great, didn't it?
The costume designer, or whatever their role is, whatever you call it, should get an Oscar for that, because it looked brilliant as a film, didn't it? Everyone was turned out immaculately.
But you do understand why history has tamed down the fact that the Nazis had a decent fashion sense.
No, the Germans are really well dressed.
The Nazis, aren't they?
Oh no, because some of them weren't into Adolf Hitler, but they were really well dressed.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Now the big thing that everyone was talking about when they left, and the first thing that I thought of when I was there, is we're so used to real films now, and films being real, and so you expect them to speak in German, don't you? And at the beginning of the film, Cruise is speaking in German, and they've got English subtitles, and then it slightly does this little slide thing. This is literally the first minute, where the sort of sound from English slides up and the German slides down, it turns into American.
Yeah,
I didn't notice.
I just wanted him to be doing the called German accent, all the way through the film, but he was just American, wasn't he?
So Neil, what did you find? Because the problem is you had Americans and you had English accent, and then when Adolf Hitler came along, he was speaking in English but with a German accent.
You could tell
the accent.
You could tell the bad guys. The bad guys were the ones with the German accents. The good Nazis were the ones who had the English accents, and the bad guys were the ones who had the German accents. Now, I had a problem with that, I must admit, Hitler having an accent.
And how bizarre is it that Eddie Izzard turns up in it?
Yeah, he wasn't very funny, was he?
He wasn't funny at all. I'll tell you
cat stories.
No, he didn't do the cats at all, but I tell you what, Joe just nudged me. Is that Eddie Izzard? No, is that Eddie Izzard? He goes, yeah, it is Eddie Izzard. And he's quite good, isn't he? He's alright. No?
I didn't like his specs.
That's not his fault, is it? Let's be fair.
They made his eyes look really big.
You're nothing but rats jumping from a sinking ship. What makes you think you'll be any different?
One of the things I found frustrating was Tom Cruise has such immaculate teeth, and it's like, this is in the 40s. God, he wouldn't have had these beautiful white teeth. I'm just used to it being a bit more real. Why isn't his teeth a bit more?
I don't know, he just looks after him.
You don't know his full backstory,
We don't know his full story, but I imagine that his teeth, people's teeth didn't look that white and...
That doesn't affect me, actually. I think if every film was too real, you'd find a lot of films, certainly like this, would be very dull.
I can't help thinking it's Tom Cruise. I couldn't get him being a German. I suppose that's when you have to be an amazing actor, and that's when maybe he needed to do things like muck his teeth up a bit, have a scar, do something to stop him.
He did have one eye and
lost an arm. And 2 fingers off his other hand, but apart from that...
Yeah, but he still looked great, didn't he?
His hair was pretty ropey.
Oh, come on, he had a good haircut.
His hair was like that Daniel Merriweather guy, wasn't it?
But he had a good haircut and he looked cool, and it was like, you know.
For a man with an eye patch, one arm, two fingers.
Maybe if he wanted to, you know, get more into his catch, he made himself look a bit rougher. Maybe a bit of prosthetics.
Look at Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, what do your average pirate look like?
Yeah, but that's not a true story.
Is it not? Well, the ghost pilots and all that.
Who do you think would be better off playing the role, though?
Well, I'm taking myself out of this because
do you think Tom Cruise?
I was quite sold on Tom Cruise, so you guys can beat that one out.
Well, obviously Martin Sheen should have played it because he plays everyone in his real life. But if it's not Martin Sheen, he's done Cloughie, hasn't he? And he's done.
Michael Sheen.
Or is he Blair?
Michael Sheen. Yeah.
Tony Blair.
Michael Sheen. I'm sure. It's
Michael Sheen or Martin Sheen.
Michael Sheen.
Let's call him Michael Sheen. Michael Sheen would be good, right? At this. Because you'd believe it. He's not big enough, yet he plays all these characters. Wouldn't it be better to have someone like him in it and then have all the other big stars around him?
Well, I don't think you needed someone to mimic, because obviously we don't know what the guy was or sound like or looked like. You need a great actor. And we differ on Tom Cruise. I think he's a great actor. What
did Tom Cruise actually do as an actor to take himself away from American Hollywood superstar and into Germany? He had white teeth, he had American accent, he didn't do anything apart from his normal act. What did he do as a great actor to make me believe he was a German in the Second World War? Answer me that, Neil. I don't think he needs gimmicks. I would call some of those gimmicks. Oh, I think that's not a gimmick. I believe that's about being an actor. I believed in the way he was emoting things. So I believe in his relationships. Do you think when all these actors play Italian mafia, Godfather and stuff, they can just do it in regular American accent, or do you think they have to go slightly Italian twinge on it? I think that's slightly different. Oh, is it now? Is it Sheephead?
Because they still speak English, don't they? In American Italian gangster films, they still speak English.
So when someone plays Big Sam and the story of Bolton, you right for an American to come over and do that? Yeah, hit the long ball, go the channels. Get it to JJ Okocha, man. Yeah, let JJ take on the ball, man.
Give it Yuri.
I see your point. I disagree, but I see your point.
Tom Cruise as Big Sam.
Yeah, with his little earpiece on, chewing his gum.
But if you had your way,
Tom, you don't need any gimmicks.
If you had your way,
you don't need Big Sam's accent. You don't need that shiny teeth. Do I need to put some weight on for this role? No, you're fine like that. Six pack.
Right, if you had your way,
a scarf and an overcoat.
Alistair McGowan would be the best actor in the world, and then. What's his name? Rory Bremner. He'd be alongside him. He'd win all the Oscars. Right. And then a fella from the 70s. Yeah. Who could only do one person. Mike Yarwood. He'd be winning the Oscars if you had your way. It's not all about. But I can see your point. Who's that?
And it's Healey.
How have we got on to Dennis Healey when Bryan Singer has made this film and it's his work, his life's work, and we're talking about Dennis Healey? Everything I didn't like about the film, and it was only a little bit, was down to the director for me. The first half was quite slowly paced, and every scene with Hitler was really slow because you got the tension that Hitler was there. And then all of a sudden, you learnt about the plot in like 3 minutes, and I kind of lost it. It was slow, really, really quick. And for me, I kind of lost it a little bit.
I thought it kept me captivated for 2 hours. I thought it was all right.
Gentlemen, we can save Europe from total destruction.
We have to show the world that not all of us will like him.
Would you go and see it at the cinema, Joe?
Yeah, I would. I think I would actually, because I like all those historical films and whatnot, and it looked brilliant. And it was good. I wasn't bored in it, and it was entertaining.
Neil?
Yeah. Minor problems with it, but I would pay to see it again. I learnt something, and I thought the second half was cracking.
I have to say, I would watch it, but I'd wait till it went on Sky Movies or DVD or something, because I think it was hard to believe Tom Cruise is a German.
But have you got...
I'm sorry, there's other films I'd watch instead.
Have you got a good enough surround sound? Those brilliant sounds of the...
Hey, we've heard it all before.
Silly Billy. We can serve Germany with a few, not both.
It's just that sort of talk that has you sent here, Colonel.
What I said was much worse.
I'm just trying to get these men out of here alive. See that he's done.
Original content every day. Channelbee. Join us.